Now, maybe 20-something years ago, you can get by without automation to a degree because really nobody had it. But today, given all of the options that people have and all of the distractions that people have, constantly tied to their devices, etc., with all of those distractions, it is not really possible to be effective at marketing without using both human beings and automation. And I say human beings because those human beings may or may not be you, depending on where you are in the growth of your practice. So why do you need both? So let's say that we stayed in, lawyer circa 1980 mode and everything we did was manual. Now, for one, it's not scalable, right? We just talked about a little while ago, there are only so many hours in the day, and that is your most scarce resource, right? So doing everything yourself, as you all know, is just not scalable. So to do manual marketing, you will inevitably hit up against a ceiling. Now, if your margins are good enough, maybe you could hire people to help you with the manual marketing, etc. But ultimately, one way or another, you are not going to be able to reach scale. It is going to be very, very difficult to reach, the $1 million plus mark without doing some forms of automation. The other thing about human marketing, stuff slips through the cracks because we are imperfect humans. And it's just who we are, and stuff gets in the way and we forget things. And even if you are neurotic about using checklists like I am, things still will slip through the cracks. So every time something slips through the cracks on marketing means that you've lost a potential client, or a relationship is not nurtured. Okay? And then the other thing about human-based marketing, if you are a numbers nerd like me, is it's really harder to track the return on investment. So with automated marketing, which can include pay per click and things like that, and with stuff we'll talk about later with email nurture, you can track the return on investment of it. Whereas your personal time, we don't tend to do that, and it is inherently imprecise because we're making trade-offs. You can say, well, maybe I'll call my billable time X, so I'll allocate that amount of time to, an expense, which is a marketing expense, but it gets kind of wonky, and it's really not as trackable as automated. So that's on the manual side. But if, of course, we turn to automation and we say, I'm going to do no manual marketing whatsoever, then really the problem is we kind of get tone deaf to our relationships, because we can nurture a lot of relationships via automation, which we're going to talk about today, but ultimately we're not going to get that kind of feedback loop that's telling us how impactful our marketing is being. It is scalable, but we're not going to be able to be impactful, and we're also not going to be able to nurture some high value relationships which do need some manual nurturing. And now, again, we'll get to whether or not you need to be doing that or someone else can eventually be doing that for you. But without the human touch in a services business like we are, it is not possible to really scale optimally. So we're going to need both human beings and our friends, the machines.